Everybody get a thing that said we're recording now? Okay. Parameter and statistic. Parameter is essentially a numerical
so like a line function
description
is like a wider
of a population.
And so you could just take the
and a statistic is a numerical description
that from both sides of x and y until
of a sample.
X is 0. No. Till
So a parameter is like a number that describes a population, and a statistic is a number that describes a sample.
0. Yeah, x is 0.
So how nuts is it making you to hear David in the background talking at home?
Yeah.
A little bit?
That doesn't sound right at all. Like I feel like this is better.
How about you?
I think it would.
Hey, David, remember you're going to have to keep your voice down a little bit so they can hear me, okay? Okay. All right, we're going to keep him in the room for now and give it a shot. But if this doesn't work, we're going to have to move him to the library. All right, last year, a company with 65 employees spent a total of that much on employee salaries. Does this amount describe a population parameter or a sample statistic? Okay, so it says that they had 65 employees, right? And they've got this much money is how much they spent on salaries. So the big question is, the money we're talking about for salaries, is it for a population or a sample? What do you guys think?
Sample.
Well, it says that the company has 65 employees, and it says a total of this on salary. So I think this is all of them. Like this is everybody in the company. So because it's a population, that means it's a parameter. Okay, so descriptive statistics is all about organizing and displaying data. This is facts. Inferential statistics is more about like using a sample to make a prediction about a population. So for example, I'll give you a second to write. How's my pacing going so far at home? I think it's a lot better now. Okay, so for example, I could say like, hey, I took a sample of 20 pet cats that people had, and I found out how long they lived, okay? And it turned out they lived on average 10 years. Okay, so that's descriptive. That's just me being like, here's my facts, 10 years on average, okay? But my inferential stuff is if I said, therefore, I think that all cats live on average about 10 years, okay? So this is like a guess. It's like a good guess. It's a really good guess, but it's still a guess. You've also got 6th and 7th hour. I mean, you'll be working on AP stats, but I'm sure you'd also have some time. So depending on what their classes are like, you can ask them. All right. Example 3. A survey of 750 parents found that 31% support their kids financially until they graduate college, and 6% provide financial support until they start college. So I guess probably only provide it until they start college. Determine which part of the survey represents the descriptive part about statistics and what conclusions might be drawn. All right. So the descriptive part, I'm just going to highlight it here. The descriptive part right here, descriptive is like these facts right here, where you're like, hey, look, 31%, 6%, they're just the facts. That's what we got out of the study. Your inference should look almost exactly like your descriptive stuff. It's just you're talking about everybody instead of just your sample. So you would probably say 31% of all parents support their kids through college. And that's halfway. We got through 1.1. Anybody have any questions for me so far? I know that this is familiar for Megan and Krista and Mitchell. Caitlin and Michaela, tell me, is this coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? Good. All right. Hey, anybody remember the difference between qualitative and quantitative data?
Quantitative is like numbers,
Mm-hmm.
like data, and then qualitative is like just like things that represent, like your phone number represents you and stuff like that.
Right. So these are essentially just like descriptions or labels. Can't spell descriptions, descriptions or labels. There are some numbers in labels. Can somebody think of a number that could be a label and not a, besides a phone number, which was what Megan just said? Anybody think of a different one? That's a number that is a label, really, not really. Like if I said I was 5'2½", that is quantitative. That's like you can tell something about me because of that, like how tall I am, right? But
wouldn't like a basketball jersey number?
Exactly, because that's more of a name, right? It's just identifying who the player is. Social security number. Yeah, any kind of jersey number. That is qualitative, not quantitative. Quantitative are only numbers, but numbers that actually mean something. Okay, so let's look at this example here. We've got the populations of some US cities here. There's the city. Here's the population. So let's look at these two categories. The name of the city, what do you think, qualitative or quantitative?
Qualitative.
Qualitative. Just a name. And the population? You can talk too, you know. Quantitative, yeah. If you ever are looking at something and you're like, it's a number, but I don't know if it's qualitative or quantitative, think about this. Think about like, if you just like, if they were like, hey, what's the population of Baltimore? And somebody was like, you know what my favorite numbers are? 619,493. Let's just name it that. Let's just say that the population of Baltimore is 619,493. Why? I don't know. Those numbers are pretty neat. You know, like people often will be like, oh, a year, like 2012, 2020. Is that a qualitative or a quantitative thing? That's quantitative because it talks about time. You could think about it like after 2020 comes 2021. It's not like after 2020, somebody was like, What number should we pick for the next year? Oh, I don't know. What number do you like best? I was thinking maybe 816. Sound good for next year? You know, like that would be more of a label. All right, so now we got the levels of measurement, nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. Okay, nominal is only qualitative. This is just basically labels and qualities.
Yeah, so if you try to picture the problem as like a line function, right?
Qualitative, ordinal could be qualitative or quantitative.
Where like the x-axis is time and the y-axis is distance, right?
But they can be put in order.
Okay. And you use, and they give a proportion, right? 2 kilometers for every 5 minutes, which that's a slope, right? That's saying how x and y relate.
And that order actually has to mean something. So like nominal stuff could be put in order too. It could be like alphabetical order, right? Pretty easily. But just because your last name begins with A compared to somebody whose last name begins with Z doesn't mean that you're more important, taller, smarter, anything compared to the other people, right? But you could say like, here are the names of people who won a race. First person's fastest, second person's second fastest, that's ordinal because you're ranking them, essentially. This is a lot of ranking here. Interval goes above and below 0. This one's only quantitative.
By putting the time into the x, and then your y is going to be your distance.
This is a scale. So 0 is just on the scale. A good example of this is temperature, because if it's 0 degrees outside, you wouldn't say there is no temperature outside today. You would just say 0 degrees. A little bit colder is -1 degrees, a little bit warmer is 1 degrees, right? It's just on the scale. And then finally, am I good to go? Mitchell, are you good? Okay. Last one's ratio. Ratio is quantitative data only. In this one, 0 means none. And you can do something called the twice test. The twice test means you can be double, like one data point can be double the other. So for example, if it was like 4 degrees outside, I couldn't say 8 degrees is twice as warm as 4 degrees because it's just a scale. It doesn't really mean anything, right? But if I said, I've got 5 cats and you've got 10 cats, you've got twice as many cats as me, and we're both insane, okay? Nobody should have 5 and 10 cats. Anybody on here have 5 and 10 cats?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thought I was gonna be insulting there. All right. So then I pasted a whole bunch of stuff from the book. This is just like a table that, so maybe you want to print this out. Also, I made enough copies of all of these notes for you guys to have them when you come in. So if like every 3 days when you come in, everybody who's at home, you want to just grab a copy of this, I'll have it for you. Okay. It's also in your book. So it says like nominal, you can put it in categories. You can't arrange the data. You can't subtract number of, you see what I mean? Like there's, here we go. And then down here, it gives like some examples. So nominal could be like the type of TV show, where ordinal would be like the PG rating, right? You can put them in order, least offensive to most offensive. Interval, all time goes on the interval scale. unless it's like time it takes you to do something. So if it was like, I spent 20 minutes on my homework, you could spend twice as much time as somebody else on their homework. So that's ratio actually. But if it's like, let's meet at 4 o'clock, that's interval. And then finally ratio, looks like we have average monthly precipitation. Okay, your chance. Here we go. So I've got 5 things up here. You have to tell me which one's which. Looks like we've got top 5 grossing movies up here. The list of the top 5 movies. Stop getting my finger in there when it's adjusting. Down here we have New York Yankees World Series victory years. And then here we have home run totals by team. Over here is movie genres. So go ahead and take a minute and try these 4 out. See if you can list which category they're in. Why are you so loud today, phone?
That is a weird thing to do. What you said? What was that? Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Michaela, pick one.
The first one, or like the top.
This one?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Ordinal.
Agreed. Tanner, you're up. Anyone you want? This one? Okay. Nominal. Mitchell? Mitchell? Your screen's black? Oh, Lord. Okay, well, we'll try to fix that in a minute. Krista, let's go to you.
I put the home run ones as ratio.
Agreed. And one team one team could have twice as many home runs as a different team. Caitlin?
The middle one would be interval.
Why? You're right.
Because it's like times.
Right. And so remember how I said 0 is a position on the scale? Okay. Remember that like year 0, there was time before that, there was time after that. It's not like year 0 was when time began or like everything like that. So, okay. So you've got half an hour now to work on your homework. Here's page 6 and page 18. It's on the bottom of here. Remember, do you have to do all of it? How much do you have to do for me to give you, you know, I mean, obviously it doesn't affect your grade, but how much do you have to do to make sure that this isn't one of the 3 that you missed?
3/4.
3/4 of it. So pick 3/4 of it, do 3/4 of it, or do all of it, your choice. I'll make sure that I give you the answers tomorrow. Okay. All right. When you're comfortable, you can go ahead and sign off. Mitchell, I'm hoping that your computer can be fixed by you just restarting it. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you want to stay on here and ask me questions as you work through the homework, you're welcome to, okay?